Give me 2 minutes to convince you as to why you should start neck training. Neck pain is the fourth leading cause of global disability, meaning if you don't already suffer from neck pain, the chances of you doing so at some point in life are pretty up there. Too direct?
You just took one in the jugular, man. Whoa. Yes!
Sorry, let me ease you in. Neck strengthening exercises date way back to ancient times and were developed as a way to improve neck strength and durability, which was essential for activities such as wrestling and combat. Think gladiators. Yeah, that's fine, Tim, but what's that got to do with your average Joe? You see, the history of neck strengthening is a testament to the importance of these exercises for overall fitness. The cervical spine and surrounding muscle groups have several effects on the function, health, and performance of not only athletes, but general populations too. Neck training reduces pain by addressing poor mobility, stability, and postural issues. With poor posture comes coinciding pain created by muscle and joint imbalances. By taking time to work on neck strength and posture, you're ultimately reducing the instigators of pain that may be nagging you throughout the day. Working on neck training will drastically improve your neck mobility, and enhanced mobility can prevent joint strain as well as lower the risk of potential injury. Won't you like to enhance your neck's performance through daily movements or other athletic activities? After all, your neck holds your head, which holds your brain, which is kind of a big deal. Wouldn't you say so? Now that you're convinced, let me show you some exercises that can be a valuable tool to improve your neck strength for either athletic performance or general physical fitness. It goes without saying it is important to warm up your neck muscles appropriately. Here I'm lifting my shoulders up to my ears and just doing some neck circles going in both directions. From here, I'm moving on into some shoulder circles, getting the traps warmed up as well. Again, just going forwards and backwards. Here I'm just looking side to side. And from here, I'm going ear to shoulder. Here I'm going into some neck orbits. Again, just working clockwise and anti-clockwise. Alright, before we move on, pause the video. If you haven't already checked out my previous neck workout video where I just go through some basic head weight movements, that might be worth checking out before going into this video, as we're going to be doing more loaded and weighted exercises. Okay, back to the video. So as you can see, I'm wearing a head harness here, and this is quite essential really if you want to load up and go quite heavy with neck flexion or extension. Here we're going into your standard neck extension, working the muscles on the back portion of the neck. As you can see, I was doing that seated, but I personally prefer to do it standing. You can do this also on an incline bench with your chest supported on the incline portion. And that's just another variation. I just prefer the standing variation as I feel like there's more range. And I feel quite strong in this position with my hands supported on my legs. Now, it's also worth saying it's important to gradually build up your reps as well as your weights and your resistance. Here I'm trying to flex on you in the video by adding another 5 kg. So this is 15 kg in total, which was probably a little bit too heavy for me in terms of a full set and rep range. But just for the purpose of this video, a couple of reps of this was absolutely fine. Now we have to address the elephant in the room. Wearing a head harness, you may stand out a little bit in the gym. As you can see, this gentleman over here coming over, checking how heavy I was lifting. But hey, it makes for a great conversation starter. As long as you know why you're doing what you're doing, it's all good. So now here we're going into some neck flexion where the weight is slightly behind my back, and I'm working the muscles on the front portion of the neck. Okay, if you do not have a head harness available, that's no stress. All you need essentially is a resistance band and a beanie. So as you can see, I set up the band to about head height here. And here I'm just working side to side. Now, jiu-jitsu being my sport, I've gone into slightly more sport-specific movements, just not only changing up the angle, but also the speed of the movements. Okay, so here I'm stepping forward with one leg and then changing the angles up and down. And obviously you can step forward as far as you want, depending on how strong the resistance band is. Now I'm facing side on and working the lateral portion of the neck, so targeting the scalenes and the SEM muscles in particular. Here I'm just doing side steps and trying to be as upright as possible. Obviously the band is trying to pull my head to the side, but I'm trying to keep my head as vertical over my torso as much as possible. And then once you work one side, so here I'm working the left side, obviously we're going to change direction and work the right side. Now, out of all the neck strengthening exercises, this is probably my favorite, where I'm rotating, so I'm twisting my head away. And this gives a really incredible contraction and just a general nice feeling in the neck for me. And yeah, I really like to do this one. And I find it works best with just the band and the beanie. It doesn't really work that well wearing a head harness. So that's good news if you don't have one or you're not willing to invest in one because you don't want to look like a weirdo. Okay, changing direction again now. So facing towards the band and stepping away. And again, this is working on that neck extension. So not only the muscles at the back of the neck, but all the way down the erector spinae and those muscles either side of the spine. Again, changing angle slightly, just going side to side, just really feeling a little bit of my obliques and my core as well. Lastly, here I'm going into those sport-specific movements again, just kind of mimicking a little bit of a wrestling stance with, a lead foot and a back foot, just changing the angles and changing the speed as I go on as well. Okay. Here I'm showing you pretty much the same variations, but just with a head harness. Now, as I mentioned earlier, some work better than others. So in terms of, the movements without any rotation, but in terms of, just the side steps or the moving forwards or the moving backwards or any of the isometric stuff, that seems to work pretty well with the head harness. In terms of how many times would you train your neck, I personally would recommend 2 times a week. I think that's more than enough. It's sustainable, and if you're consistent with that, you're definitely going to see results in the long term. Now, seeing results in terms of maybe an aesthetic point of view, so whether it's hypertrophy, growing the size of your neck, or just, feeling stronger within your neck, this takes time. Something you're going to have to invest in, not just weeks and months, but in fact over years. And if you can stay consistent over years, you're going to see some real incredible results and strengthen your neck. As I said earlier, your neck holds your head, which is an important part of your body. And so why wouldn't you want to invest the time to build up your neck that's going to support you and give you a nice, strong posture? I think if you've got a strong neck, you're going to be pretty strong everywhere else in your body as well. Now, in terms of isometrics, so just holding a position, I like to use a slightly thicker band here, and this really fires up my neck. And as long as you build gradually, increasing the resistance and the load slowly over time, most of these exercises are pretty safe. Obviously, don't jump straight into a heavy set and do loads of reps, build up gradually. Okay, so there you have it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.